Hello again, everyone. It's Dwayne. It is Wednesday. It is April 27th, 2016. It's time for the midweek edition of One Man's Opinion. I apologize in advance for this coming out so late. It's been a heck of a day. You know how life happens. What you're going to do. Okay. Sunday and Wednesday of last week, I talked about that there would be some surprises from last night to talk about. And yes, there were. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right, let's get to the delegate count real quick. Donald Trump, out of the 1237 needed, has 954 delegates. Mathematically, it is possible for him to get the 1237 at this point. In second place, with 562 delegates, is Ted Cruz. Mathematically, it's almost an impossibility for him to get it unless he were to win everything else in a big way. Don't see that happening. And in third place, John Kasich with 153. And he still thinks he's got a path to the nomination. I'll tell you what John Kasich is. He's a Democrat plant. He believes in unicorns, I believe. He is in this race for no other reason than to live out a fantasy. The man has no chance of winning anything. He thinks he's going to get a brokered convention, and he is going to be the nominee. I think the rules state you have to win at least 8 states. He's got 1. That's where the fantasy comes in, folks. Okay. He's a moron. Okay. Might as well be a Democrat and be running with Hillary. All right. Let's talk about the mini Super Tuesday of the northeastern states, the I-95 corridor up there. The surprises. First of all, Donald Trump won every township, every county, every burg in all 5 states. I don't think that's ever been done before in the history of the United States. If it has, I have not been able to find out when. Secondly, John Kasich came in second in 4 of the 5 states. I was thinking that he would probably come in second in all of the 5 states because we're talking about northeastern liberal and moderate Republicans. The only state that Ted Cruz came in second was Pennsylvania, and that surprised the hell out of me that he got as good as he did in Pennsylvania. And then on the Democrat side, Hillary Clinton won 4 of the 5 states. I was thinking it might be the other way around with Bernie Sanders winning 4 of the 5 states. But Hillary won decisively in 4 of the 5. I'm not going to bore you with all the vote counts because it's just a pain in the ass for you and I. Needless to say, out of the 28 delegates for the Republicans, Donald Trump got 57.7% of the vote. He got all 28 of the delegates in Connecticut. We already know that Kasich came in second, Cruz came in third. Now, neither one of them got a delegate. On the Democrat side, Hillary Clinton got 51.8% of the vote. She got 27 delegates. Sanders got 46.4% of the vote. He got 25 out of Connecticut. Moving on to Delaware. 16 Republican and 21 Democrat delegates at stake. Donald Trump won 60.8% of the vote. Kasich second, Cruz third. Kasich and Cruz did not get a delegate. Donald Trump got all 16. Hillary, 59.8% of the vote. She got 12 delegates. Sanders got 39.2% of the vote, and he got 9 delegates. Moving on to Maryland, 38 Republican and 95 Democrat delegates there. Trump got 54.4% of the vote. Kasich second and Cruz in third. Kasich and Cruz did not get a delegate. Trump got all 38. Over on the Democrat side, Clinton got 63%. Sanders got 33.2%. Clinton got 59 delegates, and Sanders got 32. Pennsylvania, 17 Republican and 189 Democrat delegates. That's a big contrast there. Trump, 56.7% of the vote. He got all 17 of the delegates. Cruz came in second, Kasich third. Neither one of them got a delegate. For the Democrats, Clinton got 55.6% or 95 delegates. Sanders got 43.6 and he got 67 delegates. And finally, Rhode Island, 19 Republican and 24 Democrat delegates there. Trump got 63.8% of the vote. He got 10 delegates. Kasich came in second with 24.4% of the vote. He got 5 delegates. Cruz got 10.4% of the vote. He got 3 delegates. For the Democrats, Sanders got 55% of the vote in Rhode Island. He got 13 delegates. Hillary Clinton got 43.3% of the vote. She got 11 delegates. So it was a big night for Donald Trump. And then today, on the heels of that big night, he winds up giving a policy speech, a foreign policy speech to be more exact, basically wanting to shake up the foreign policy in this country. You know, we don't need a one-size-fits-all policy. We don't. But we do need a little bit more cohesive and rational foreign policy. And it's, I think, what Donald Trump is trying to get at. First of all, he wants to put America first before anybody else, and I think that's a great thing. Of course, that's also being a little bit isolationist. But right now, we need to put America first, and we need to rebuild our infrastructure before we help build the rest of the world. That's something else that he doesn't want to do anymore. He wants to get out of the nation-building business. I wholeheartedly agree. Our military is not there to build up your nation. Our military is there to kill you and break things. Let somebody else build up your infrastructure once a war is over with. And then he also wants our NATO allies to pay their fair share of the burden or be left out to defend themselves. Now, that's a little sticky. We need NATO, but there again, we've got at least one ally in NATO right now that I'm not sure about, and that's Turkey. I don't know if they're working with the Russians, the Iranians, who, but they sure aren't being a very good NATO member with us. So basically, Donald Trump is wanting to shake up our foreign policy. Now, he gave a very presidential speech. He was using teleprompters today. Sounded very presidential. It was actually a little bit boring because usually you're used to seeing Donald Trump being brash, boastful, boisterous, name calling and things like that, and he wasn't doing any of that. So it was kind of it was comical in one sense to see him so subdued, and on another sense, I guess, it was a very boring speech because we're used to that other Donald Trump out on the stump. Also today, Ted Cruz in Indiana announced that Carly Fiorina was going to be running as his vice presidential running mate. I think that's a smart move on Cruz's part because California is coming up, and I think California is going to decide everything. I know Indiana is going to do its fair share, but I think California is going to go all the way to. Carly Fiorina is fairly popular as far as the Republicans are concerned in California. Having a woman on the ticket might help. It can't hurt. And I can tell you right now, if of all the people that he could have chose, I think she was by far the best choice. I know he's trying to get the California votes. And right now, it's not a big lead for Trump. It's not a big lead for Cruz. The polls, if you believe the polls, show for the most part that Trump is ahead, but not by all that much. Now in Indiana, there's 2 or 3 different polls I've looked at, and I'm not going to bore you with the polls. I don't believe in the polls anymore. They're too easy to sway. God knows I've done it before. I've lied to pollsters, told them what they wanted to hear, and did whatever I wanted to do, and then everybody's scratching their head going, oh, what happened? So, I'm not going to believe the polls. Now, Donald Trump could actually win this before California if he were to do what he did last night. I don't see it happening. I think that he is going to have a little bit harder time in Indiana, Oregon, Washington, and California. More than likely, Nebraska is going to go to Cruz. West Virginia may be a toss-up. We've talked about that before. But Indiana's coming up May 3rd, and Nebraska and West Virginia is coming up on May 10th. Okay, let's talk about faux pas. Back in the day, the old show, I jumped all over our community organizer in chief, Obama, when he said corpseman. I also said some things about him when he was talking about visiting all 57 states. The reason I did that is simple. First of all, he's a moron. I mean, a progressive moron. And secondly, he was supposed to be the smartest man in the room. He was supposed to be the smartest man on earth. Supposed to be the smartest president we was ever going to have. He was the second coming. He was the Messiah. He was all that to everybody. And for him to say corpseman instead of corpsman told me that he was not nearly as educated as he thought he was. For him to say 57 states definitely did it. Of course, things happen on the stump. You talk, if you don't have a teleprompter in front of you, sometimes you do make mistakes. God knows I make enough of them on this show. There are times that I have to re-record this show a couple of times because my brain moves faster than my mouth does. My brain will move at the speed of light and my lips will move at the speed of snail. So I will stumble over my tongue trying to keep up with my brain. And sometimes it's so obvious that I have to start over again because it's so bad. Ted Cruz made a faux pas today. He was trying to make a basketball analogy in, of all places, Indiana. He was talking about, I think, the movie Hoosiers, where the thing was, and I never watched the movie, but apparently the coach says, okay, the height of the basketball rim in Indiana is the same height as the basketball rim in New York. And Ted Cruz did say basketball rim in one sentence, and the next sentence he said basketball ring, and then he reiterated basketball ring. And of course, the Trumpsters jumped all over him. Saw a couple of threads today that they were just all over him for making that stupid faux pas. And probably the media has jumped all over him for saying that. And, you're saying that in basketball country, you're not supposed to, make mistakes like that. When you've got microphones and cameras shoved in your face, folks, you're going to make mistakes. People are human. And like I said, God knows I make enough of them. I'm not going to sit here and point an accusatory finger at someone, especially when you are trying not only to look presidential, sound presidential, act presidential, but remember your stump speech. And doing that without a teleprompter. It is not easy, folks. I don't use a teleprompter or a script here. I speak. I talk from the heart. And sometimes I say things and then I go, oh God, why did I just say that? And I'll go back and cut it out and I'll put something else in its place. These politicians don't have that luxury. So we got to give them a little bit of slack every once in a while. I don't envy them at all, whoever the candidate happens to be. All right, my time is up. I thank you for yours. You guys and gals have a great week. I want you to be good to one another. I want you to say your prayers for America because God knows we need all the help we can get. We do. All right, until Sunday, you guys have a good one, and we will see you again later.